The time given to the surrounding cultivators to think was only a moment. As soon as Zhan Konglie's words fell, he vanished in a flash and directly entered the 1,000-mile light curtain. His gaze was sharp as a torch. He looked at Wang Lin with a solemn expression and cupped his fists, saying, "Senior Su Mu, please enlighten me." Wang Lin remained calm, looking at Zhan Konglie. His gaze descended on him from a high angle, and at this moment, Wang Lin was completely different from the man he once was. Back then, he could only impersonate a senior. Even in the Thunder Immortal realm, his cultivation was only on par with Zhan Konglie, and he had to be cautious in his speech. But now, having broken through to Yang fulfillment, reaching the second step, and the early glimpse of nirvana, his cultivation had truly soared. As he looked at Zhan Konglie, Wang Lin's mind was calm, his gaze unfazed. "You are no match for me," Wang Lin said, pulling his gaze away and speaking indifferently. "Since you have some history with me, leave now." Zhan Konglie fell silent, gazing at Wang Lin with a complex expression. After a long pause, he spoke in a deep voice, "Senior, 700 years ago, on Tianlei's star, I comprehended the indomitable will within the thunder and fused that unyielding power into myself. Returning to my clan, I meditated for a century under the battle calligraphy of my ancestors, forming my own concept of will. My concept is the will of indomitable battle. Battle is the surname of my clan, but it also represents my will. Only battle intent. Through this concept, my cultivation progressed rapidly and the path was smooth. I reached Yang fulfillment 400 years ago, but up until today, I have made no progress. Senior, is my path right or wrong?" As soon as these words were spoken, the surroundings fell silent. All the cultivators were quiet, and even some ancestral elders of cultivation clans were deep in thought. Clearly, this question had always lingered in their hearts. I once asked the ancestor of the Zhan clan, Lai Yunzi, but the answer I received only left me more confused. Zhan Konglie looked at Wang Lin and spoke in a deep voice. "Senior, please help me clear this doubt." Wang Lin's gaze remained calm as he glanced at Zhan Konglie and replied flatly, "Your battle intent is fragile." Zhan Konglie's eyes gleamed for a moment, but that light quickly faded, and he fell into deeper silence. "I believe your ancestor told you that the path to battle intent is through challenging those with similar cultivation in this starry sky, constantly fighting and comprehending battle intent. With each victory, the battle intent strengthens until you enter a state of battle madness. At this point, you can break through and reach nirvana." Zhan Konglie's body trembled, and he suddenly looked up at Wang Lin. Though Wang Lin's words differed from Lai Yunzi's, their core meaning was eerily similar. "Please, senior, guide me." Zhan Konglie stepped back a few paces, deeply bowing to Wang Lin. "Duel can be given away freely, but what use is so-called unyieldingness? Zhan Konglie, since you have history with me, I will say this. The battle intent forged through continuous combat is powerful, but it is limited. True battle intent comes from having faith in your heart, from a duel that forces you to fight, to win, and to never give up. Even if you face me, even if you face the ancestor of your Zhan clan, when facing this world, you must be able to say, 'So what? Only death awaits.'" Wang Lin's voice was calm, but it rang like thunder in Zhan Konglie's ears. With a thunderous crash, Zhan Konglie's mind was shaken, and he staggered back a few steps. His battle intent shattered, replaced by a glimmer of realization. "Step back." Wang Lin waved his sleeve, and Zhan Konglie's figure immediately retreated, exiting the 1,000-mile light curtain. He remained silent for a long time, bowed deeply toward Wang Lin, and sat on the crimson stone, silently contemplating. The surroundings were quiet. The man in black, whose cloak was embedded with 9 blades, suddenly revealed a sharp light in his eyes. He lifted his head, looked at Wang Lin, and in a hoarse voice, slowly said, "You have spoken the profound truth. Brother, you have truly understood the Tao path. Nan Gong, I am impressed. You are worthy of accepting my challenge." As soon as the black-clad man finished speaking, he didn't even wait for Wang Lin's response, as if to challenge him was an honor for anyone in the world. His body remained seated, but with a flick of his right hand, the 9 knives in front of him trembled. A powerful blade aura surged forth from the knives, and in an instant, 9 blade energies whistled toward Wang Lin. The blade aura was so powerful that it seemed to contain a certain law, causing the surrounding starry sky to distort. Even the 1,000-mile light curtain quivered, as if it could not withstand the force and might collapse. 9 curved heavenly blade. An ancestor from a cultivation clan sitting on a white stone saw the blade aura in an instant. His eyes flickered, and he muttered to himself, Those around them, upon hearing these words, immediately focused on the black-clad man, each of them with their own thoughts. The nine-curve heavenly blade technique from the Nan Gonghan clan of the southern Luotian region. So, this person is from the Nan Gonghan clan. Among the four great clans of the southern Luotian region, the Nan Gonghan, Tang, Zhan, and Xun'er clans, the Nan Gonghan clan was originally ranked first, but they mysteriously disappeared 1,000 years ago. No one from the Nan Gonghan clan has been seen on their cultivation stars since. This even attracted the attention of the Thunder Immortal Palace, but in the end, no cause was found. No wonder I've never seen this person. Turns out, he is from the Nan Gonghan clan of the past. Amidst the various discussions filling the air, the 9 knives, transformed into sharp blade chi, howled loudly and shot toward Wang Lin at an astonishing speed. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. The black-robed man's cultivation level, like his own, was in the early stage of glimpse of nirvana. The 9-blade chi contained a violent force that threatened to break the rules. As they rushed toward him, they sealed off all possible escape routes in all directions. His only choice was to confront it head-on. A cold gleam flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He stepped forward and raised his right hand, softly chanting, "Summon the wind." Faced with this person, Wang Lin chose not to waste time talking. Instead, he immediately unleashed his most powerful divine ability. His goal was simple, to secure victory. If he became entangled in a prolonged struggle, any weakening of his momentum would make it difficult to fight for the top position. A black wind instantly spread across the entire world, as if it filled the entire starry sky. Under this black wind, the blade chi surrounding him, which had been forcefully pulling, lost all resistance and shattered with loud bangs, breaking into fragments that were sucked back. The black wind roared, releasing an endless chill capable of extinguishing any flame of life. As it surged, it split into 2 black dragons, each 1,000 feet long. With each movement, a deafening rumble echoed, and the black dragons exuded an aura of power akin to that of the heavens themselves. Additionally, a thick, murderous aura enveloped the area. This aura originated from Wang Lin himself. Although this divine ability was born from the wind, it was fueled by his primordial energy and contained all the killing intent Wang Lin had accumulated in his life, including his current intense battle spirit. Roar. A violent roar echoed as the 2 black dragons intertwined and simultaneously roared. The resulting gusts turned into a violent storm that swept through, instantly shattering the 9-blade chi before they even got close. In the starry sky, within the 1,000-mile light barrier, Wang Lin stood dressed in white, with black winds swirling around him. 2 black dragons circled his body, extending 1,000 feet in length. Their furious roars reverberated, and Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he took step after step toward the black-robed man. "If you wish to fight, then let us fight." His voice was cold and nearly emotionless, carrying an icy chill. At this moment, all the cultivators witnessing the scene were taken aback, their faces changing drastically. Even the clan ancestors were deeply moved. What kind of divine ability is this? This divine ability is too powerful. Even with the 1,000-mile light barrier separating us, I can still feel a chill in my heart, as though I'm surrounded by ice. Even my primordial energy is moving sluggishly. This is no ordinary divine ability. Sumu truly deserves the title of Demon Path Scion. His Tao arts are filled with demonic nature. It's terrifying. This divine ability is too frightening. If I were to face it, I would have no power to fight back. Where did this person learn such a technique? I've never heard of anything like it. The Yao clan has the Thunder Wind technique, which is somewhat similar to this divine ability, but its power seems slightly weaker. An elder from the Thunder Immortal Palace, dressed in purple, his eyes glimmering with sharp light, smiled faintly, his heart quietly pondering. I've heard the palace master say that Su Mu is the junior brother of immortal monarch Qingshui's second-generation disciple. This might just be true, but I wonder, which is stronger, the nearly perfected 9 curves heavenly blade or the immortal emperor's technique that only summons 2 black dragons? The black dragons roared, and with each step Wang Lin took, they released gusts of cold wind, charging straight toward the red stone on which the black-robed man sat. The black-robed man's eyes sharpened, but he did not stand up. Instead, he formed a hand seal, and immediately 4 of the 9 knives flew up from the stone, intertwining and spinning rapidly. A violent storm materialized, and with it, the surrounding starry sky cracked open in large rifts, as if it couldn't bear the pressure. Heavenly Blade Annihilation. The black-robed man's voice was hoarse as he slowly spoke. The four knives surged forward, spinning and howling, forming into heavenly blades that seemed capable of splitting the world itself. They hurtled toward the two black dragons, ready to strike with devastating force. The 9 curves heavenly blade represented the utmost force, as if there was nothing in the world that could withstand its might. After seeing immortal monarch Qing Shui use the summon the wind technique twice, Wang Lin had gained much insight. Now, as he controlled this wind technique, his mind couldn't help but recall a scene from the 9th floor of the treasure pavilion in the Thunder Immortal realm. It felt as if he had become the young disciple in that painting. His heart suddenly gained clarity, and Wang Lin raised his hands, seemingly fusing with the 2 black dragons. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light as he raised his arms, forming a seal. Instantly, the 2,000-foot black dragons roaring around him released a deep glow from their dragon eyes. This light was profound, as though at that moment, the 2 black dragons had gained sentience or awakened from some ancient slumber. They exuded an overwhelming sense of ancient power, swirling with black wind, and charged toward the 4 heavenly blades. The heavenly blades were sharp enough to cleave through anything, but they could not sever the souls of the black dragons. The first strike fell with a thunderous roar, quickly descending. This strike drew the attention of all the onlookers around, as if it could devour everything in its path. As it descended, it distorted the starry sky, as if the heavens themselves would be torn apart by the strike. A black dragon roared and lifted its head, charging directly at the heavenly blade. With a deafening sound, the first strike crashed down. However, the moment it landed, it began to collapse from the tip of the blade, shattering into countless fragments that swirled around. The collapse continued to spread, and as it did, a series of explosive roars rang out, signaling the complete disintegration of the blade. In that instant, the second blade descended from the heavens. As it neared, a powerful storm immediately formed around it. The intensity of the storm was so terrifying that, as it fell, the sound of cracking echoed through the starry sky, with large rifts appearing in its wake. The fragments from the first blade that had shattered earlier immediately merged into the second blade. The second blade descended with a strange howling sound. A shockwave spread for thousands of miles, with thunderous booms replacing all other sounds, ringing in the ears of all the cultivators nearby. Some of the weaker ones were stunned by the force, their eyes glazed over in an instant. This second blade, combining the might of the first, struck directly in the path of the black dragon. Amidst the deafening noise, the dragon's furious roar resounded as its enormous body trembled. Its massive head swung violently, but with a series of bangs, the second blade also shattered. The third and fourth blades came in rapid succession, absorbing the fragments of the previous 2. The third blade, even before landing, began to dissipate, merging into the third strike, forming a blade of light beyond imagination. It crashed down with a resounding boom. The black dragon, in its furious roar, began to break apart, turning into vast gusts of black wind, sweeping in all directions. Meanwhile, the final fourth blade also collapsed amidst the thunderous noise. At the same time, the massive light screen that had been holding the attack also shattered under the tremendous impact. It turned into countless fragments, disappearing into nothing. The 1,000-mile-wide light screen was gone. With no more barriers to contain it, the shockwave exploded outwards. The surrounding cultivators, faces pale, hastily protected their families by casting spells. However, the green stones under the storm's wrath began to retreat, many of them exploding into dust, turning into ash. The area around the dying star seemed to have been thrown into a calamity. The black-clad man sitting cross-legged on the crimson stone now appeared pale, his eyes flashing with light. The stone beneath him cracked with a loud bang, and he was forced to rise into the air. The remaining 5 blades flew from the shattered stone, following him closely. Despite his pale face, the man immediately retreated. For blades to slay a black dragon, such an achievement was enough to shock anyone. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with cold light, and the second black dragon, after a roar, charged straight out. Did you not want to fight? Why retreat? With a single step, he seemed to merge with the black dragon, charging forward toward the retreating black-clad man. The black-clad man's eyes glinted with battle intent, Hearing this, he paused, his hands swirling in front of him. With a sudden push, he shouted, "Heavenly Blade, Demon Slayer." The 5 blades around him trembled, releasing sharp blade chants. They spun and transformed into 5 silver rainbows, speeding toward Wang Lin. In the starry sky, these 5 silver rainbows turned into 5 heavenly blades, falling in unison, heading directly for Wang Lin. The black dragon roared as it rushed forward. Its eyes flashed with dark light, and Wang Lin fixed his gaze on the descending heavenly blades, his mind recalling the scroll on the 9th level of the treasure pavilion. Wind summoning, rain calling, scatter beams to form soldiers. At that moment, the words that had appeared on the scroll flashed through Wang Lin's mind. The black dragon's eyes grew darker, and in that instant, it opened its mouth, releasing a gust of cold wind. Yet, in this wind, there was not only air, but also rain. Though it was a light rain, it was certainly real rain. In an instant, the starry sky was swept by the black wind, with 100 drops of rain mingling within. This instantly enveloped the surroundings in a chilling dampness. As the rain fell, the 5 heavenly blades trembled and made a cracking sound. The black dragon roared, charging forward to meet the 5 blades head-on. Boom, boom, boom. The continuous thunderous sounds caused the starry sky to shake. The impact spread throughout the surrounding area, and cultivators thousands of miles away quickly retreated. Only those with deep cultivation could stand firm against the shockwave, their eyes burning with intensity as they witnessed the clash of 2 great divine abilities. The black dragon's roar lingered, but its body began to dissipate. The black wind in the heavens also vanished without a trace. Wang Lin's face grew slightly pale, his body retreating a few steps as his eyes flashed with sharp light. This person has cultivation equal to mine, but he is a formidable opponent. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as his body swayed, merging into the surroundings, disappearing without a trace. The man in black quickly retreated, his face drained of color. All 5 of his heavenly blades had shattered, injuring his spirit. Yet, there was no panic in his eyes. Instead, they were filled with an even more intense battle intent. With a wild laugh, he stamped his right foot backward, halting his retreat. As his foot landed, a thunderous sound of collapse echoed through the starry sky, and a vast crack appeared behind him. Delightful. Since I, Nan Gonghan, mastered the blade path, I've never encountered an opponent of the same cultivation level, except for seniors or great experts. When I aim for the top, I become the strongest below the Yin deficiency stage, and with my young fulfillment, I stand as the strongest below the glimpse of nirvana stage. You, however, have earned the right to be my current opponent. Nan Gonghan, the man in black, laughed wildly, his hands forming seals in front of him. In an instant, his body distorted in the starry sky, and 9 illusory blades materialized around him. But just as the 9 illusory blades appeared, a ripple in the void flashed beside him. Wang Lin stepped out, his right hand forming a sword with 2 fingers. Without hesitation, he pointed. With this point, Wang Lin's Tao was embedded in it, and infused with his glimpse of nirvana essence. As he pointed, 2 black and white yin-yang fish spun in midair, resembling a seal, suddenly falling toward Nan Gonghan. Nan Gonghan swiftly turned, his body retreating rapidly. With another hand seal, the illusory blades in front of him shot out like lightning. However, Wang Lin's appearance was too sudden and too close. Of the 9 illusory blades, only 2 managed to block, but in the cold gaze of Wang Lin, as he pointed, those 2 illusory blades instantly shattered. In the moment of their collapse, Wang Lin's fingers descended upon Nan Gonghan's brow. Nan Gonghan's pupils suddenly contracted, and a deathly crisis he had never felt before surged through his body. Without hesitation, he formed a palm with his right hand, a flash of silver light shimmering as it collided with Wang Lin's fingers. With a crash, a violent force of primordial energy rushed into Nan Gonghan's body. His body shook, and he exploded backward, blood gushing from his chest, but he forced it down. What terrified him further was the 2 streams of black and white energy that had entered his body, relentlessly destroying it with immense tenacity, while also emitting a subtle ripple of intent. At Wang Lin's end, his finger lost sensation, but his surprise attack had succeeded. Though Nan Gonghan resisted, some of the primordial energy had still entered his body. However, Nan Gonghan's energy was like the edge of a blade, extremely sharp. Once inside, it felt like a knife, almost tearing his body apart. A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes, but he didn't retreat. Instead, he stepped forward, merging with the void. Seeing Wang Lin disappear, Nan Gonghan's pupils contracted sharply. His hands quickly formed seals, and he shouted low, 9 curved blade formation. In an instant, The two shattered illusory blades reappeared, interweaving with the other 7 to form a blade formation. It spun rapidly, turning into countless silver threads that surrounded Nan Gonghan and exploded outward. Wang Lin's figure reappeared 3 paces away from Nan Gonghan. Just as the blade formation's threads neared him, he waved his right hand, revealing a beast bone pattern. Immediately, it transformed, flickering with eerie light. The silver threads then emitted a grayish glow, and in that instant, Wang Lin suppressed his internal injuries, vanishing once again without a trace. Nan Gonghan gasped and quickly retreated, shouting loudly, "Stop, stop. I surrender. There's no way to fight. You possess the shrinking earth technique. How am I supposed to fight you? Stop." He kept retreating, changing direction, speaking rapidly. "I've already surrendered. Why won't you let go? I've admitted defeat. All right. No more fighting." Nan Gonghan gave a bitter laugh. He didn't want it this way, but facing a glimpse of Nirvana Cultivator with the shrinking earth technique was simply too much of a disadvantage. With this declaration, the imposing figure of the once mighty cultivator collapsed. 20 paces away, Wang Lin's figure appeared, frowning as he looked at Nan Gonghan. In his life, he had never encountered such a person. "No more fighting. No more fighting. Once I comprehend the shrinking earth technique, we can resume. Right now, it's not worth it. I can't beat you." Nan Gonghan sighed in frustration. He quickly retreated, heading toward a crimson stone where someone had been seated. At his glare, the person immediately understood and vacated the space. Wang Lin stood in silence for a moment before looking around, speaking calmly, "Are there any more challengers?" A quiet silence filled the air. Zhan Konglie silently watched everything, his eyes dimming, but slowly, they brightened. He looked at Wang Lin, no longer with the same fervor, but with growing respect. The surrounding cultivators all glanced at Wang Lin, yet in the end, no one stepped forward. "Sumu, number 1 among the 108 immortals of the Southern Domain. In 7 days, once the remaining 107 have been selected, come with me to the Thunder Immortal Palace." The elder in purple slowly spoke. Under the contest of immortal ascension among the many younger cultivators, if these individuals were to make a move, they would inevitably earn the bad reputation of fighting over the younger generation's opportunities. This would be unfavorable. After all, many had already figured out that what the 108 immortals of the Thunder Immortal Palace sought was a soaring battle intent, and what they wanted was a strong presence among the younger generation. Although this wasn't explicitly stated, the clues could still be inferred from the details. Thus, it was rare for those at the Glimpse of Nirvana stage to participate. In the Southern Luo Heaven domain, only a few such individuals existed, each of them being the ancestor of their respective clans, and it wouldn't be appropriate to make an enemy of Wang Lin. After all, Sumu's name was too well known. The title of Demon Path Scion still carried a bloody aura to this day. Furthermore, Sumu had always acted with low profile, yet now he made such a high-profile appearance, clearly aiming for the top spot among the qualifications. Since that was the case, it would be best to just hand it to him without the need to fight and form enmities. The 7 days quickly passed. During this time, Wang Lin remained in the residence arranged by the Dian Star Cultivation clan, sitting cross-legged in meditation, adjusting his primordial energy and maintaining his peak state in preparation for the final battle in the Luo Tian Star domain. During these 7 days, Zhan Konglie was the first to arrive. He did not ask about Wang Lin's cultivation level, instead engaging in a philosophical debate with him. Afterward, he left, having gained some insight, and while his respect wasn't overwhelming, it was still noticeable. Clearly, Wang Lin had earned his acknowledgement. After Zhan Konglie left, others came to visit one by one. The situation remained busy until the 4th day, when it finally quieted down. However, while Wang Lin intended to quietly cultivate, there was one person who constantly interrupted him, Nan Gonghan. Nan Gonghan's only goal was to learn the shrinking earth technique. Every time he visited, Wang Lin found it very troublesome. Eventually, he grew irritated by Nan Gonghan's persistence and released Su Ligua. Wang Lin clearly told Nan Gonghan that Su Ligua also knew this technique. Without bothering to check if Nan Gonghan believed him, Wang Lin waved his sleeve and left, seeking a quiet place on Dian Star to meditate in peace. Per Su Ligua, though Nan Gonghan didn't believe Wang Lin's words, found that he and Su Ligua got along well. He dragged Su Ligua around, constantly talking to him. At first, Su Ligua didn't mind, but over time, he couldn't take it anymore. By the end, he was suffering greatly. He couldn't defeat Nan Gonghan, nor could he resist, and he couldn't leave. He could only sigh and deal with it, longing for the 7 days to pass quickly. Master, please come back soon. On the 7th day, Wang Lin opened his eyes from meditation, and with a flash, his figure disappeared. Using his divine sense, he found Su Ligua's location. However, upon seeing him, Wang Lin furrowed his brow. Su Ligua, with his demonic body, was on the verge of collapse. Opposite him, Nan Gonghan was sighing deeply, endlessly speaking to him. In a daze, Su Ligua saw Wang Lin and immediately became excited. Without hesitation, he rushed forward, as if he were about to burst into tears. Master, you're finally back. I will never have any more thoughts again. Please, Master, have mercy and take me back. This person is too terrifying. Master, don't abandon me. I can't leave you. Su Ligua's voice was full of misery. Wang Lin, seeing Su Ligua in such a miserable state for the first time, raised his right hand and stored him in the storage pouch. His gaze swept over Nan Gonghan. Nan Gonghan was in excellent condition, but at this moment, he seemed a bit embarrassed. He rubbed his hands and nodded. Brother Su, your weapon spirit is remarkable. We hit it off right away. We should get closer in the future. Wang Lin furrowed his brows and, without saying another word, turned and disappeared in a single step. Nan Gonghan, full of regret, followed closely behind, silently thinking to himself, such a good weapon spirit, it's a pity. If I could defeat Su Mu, I would have taken it for myself. The remaining 107 people from the southern Luo heaven domain were selected, and in the vast starry sky, a purple-robed elder took out a black stone from his storage pouch. Crushing it, countless crystalline lights flashed, revealing an illusory formation in the sky. This formation was enormous, occupying 100 zhang radius. The purple-robed elder stepped in first, followed by 2 Qingpao Thunder Immortal Palace emissaries, entering the formation and vanishing from sight. The remaining 100 or so individuals entered the formation one by one. Wang Lin was among them. He observed Zhan Konglie, Shen Gonghu, and others. The formation glowed brightly, and all 108 of them disappeared. The Thunder Immortal Palace was an extremely powerful force in the Luo Tian star domain. After countless years of expansion under successive palace masters, it had subtly become the strongest force in the open within the Luo Tian star domain. The location of the Thunder Immortal Palace was highly mysterious, and no one knew its exact position. Even its emissaries returned only through a special teleportation array, with no other known pathways. At this moment, within a radius of 100,000 miles around the Thunder Immortal Palace, numerous restrictions were in place. Thunder Immortal Palace emissaries, along with cultivators who acted as attendants, spread out across the area. The act of sealing immortality was an extremely important event for the Thunder Immortal Palace, one that had been planned for countless years. Within these 100,000 miles, all private battles were forbidden, and any violators would be immediately dealt with by the Thunder Immortal Palace. Surrounding the Thunder Immortal Palace, there were 4 massive teleportation arrays. Under the flickering light of the formation, figures began to appear within the northern array. Led by the emissaries heading to the northern Thunder Immortal Palace, cultivators emerged one by one. These cultivators appeared calm, with little to no sign of excitement upon arriving at the Thunder Immortal Palace. However, as they stepped out, an air of battle intent began to spread. At this moment, the southern and western teleportation arrays flickered with light. Almost simultaneously, a large number of figures poured out. Wang Lin was among them. After stepping out of the formation, his gaze swept around, and his expression remained unchanged. The Thunder Immortal Palace exuded a majestic aura, much like the imperial palace of the mortal world. Moreover, there were terrifying fluctuations from hidden restrictions, which became apparent the moment Wang Lin sensed them. His eyes narrowed sharply. With his knowledge of formations and restrictions, he could clearly feel that the restrictions on the Thunder Immortal Palace were nearly terrifying in their power. Even with his cultivation level, if he were caught within these restrictions, death would be certain. Not only was the Thunder Immortal Palace surrounded by such restrictions, but Wang Lin also noticed that the very grass, trees, and even the white clouds in the sky were imbued with intense restrictions. Wang Lin wasn't the only one observing his surroundings. Nearly all the other cultivators were focusing their attention as well. Just then, the eastern teleportation array flickered, drawing everyone's attention. The light from the eastern array intensified, and 3 figures emerged. These 3 were the Thunder Immortal Palace emissaries sent to the eastern Luotian region. Their expressions were extremely grim as they swiftly exited the array. One of them even looked back briefly, his gaze filled with fear as he glanced at the teleportation array. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. At this moment, a thick scent of blood wafted out from the eastern array. The array flashed again, and only one figure appeared. No need to wait. The other 107 are all dead by my hand. Eyes like lightning locked onto the eastern teleportation array. Gradually, the figure within the array became clearer, revealing his full appearance. He was a tall man, around 30 years old, dressed in white robes. However, there was no grace to his appearance. Instead, he exuded a chilling aura. His eyes were cold, filled with a savage arrogance, and suffused with an overwhelming killing intent. As the man stepped out of the array, the scent of blood grew even stronger, spreading throughout the area. A bunch of useless fools. His voice was flat, but when he spoke, it was as if a thunderclap had struck. The sound echoed loudly outside the Thunder Immortal Palace. The surrounding cultivators, all of whom were the elites of the Luotian Star Domain, cast unkind looks at the white-robed man. Wang Lin remained calm, withdrawing his gaze. This man's cultivation was at the same level as his own, early glimpse of Nirvana stage. However, Wang Lin couldn't shake the strange feeling he had about him. He was certain he had never seen this person before. As he pondered, the white-robed youth suddenly glanced through the crowd, and his eyes locked onto Wang Lin. The moment their gazes met, the youth licked his lips and gave Wang Lin a sinister smile. Wang Lin remained unchanged, calmly meeting his gaze. Their eyes seemed to pass through the crowd, colliding in midair. While their gazes were intangible to cultivators, eyes were infused with divine sense, and this exchange of gazes was akin to a battle of divine consciousness. It was like two sharp swords clashing midair, each of them withdrawing with lightning speed. The white-robed youth's eyes glowed, and he took a closer look at Wang Lin. During the brief exchange of divine senses, not only had he not overwhelmed Wang Lin, but he also felt as though Wang Lin's divine sense was on the verge of penetrating his own. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as he withdrew his gaze. Although the youth's cultivation was the same as his, at early glimpse of Nirvana stage, there was an eerie power in his divine sense. Such a brief encounter was barely noticed by the surrounding cultivators. Only 4 people detected the clash. One of them, from the northern Luotian region, was a middle-aged man with a clean-shaven face. The most unusual thing about him was his right hand. Instead of 5 fingers, he had 6, and there was even a thumb on his hand. Another person, also from the northern Luotian region, was a young boy. The boy's head was unusually large, making him look very awkward. However, there was a 3-zhang radius of empty space around him, as no one dared to come close. The boy had a foolish smile on his face, and after glancing at Wang Lin, his attention shifted to the white-robed youth, his silly grin growing even more pronounced. The third one to sense it came from the western region of Luotian. He wore blue robes, strikingly handsome, with sharp eyes that gleamed each time he blinked. His gaze was locked on Wang Lin, a thoughtful look in his eyes. The last figure, naturally, was none other than Nan Gonghan, standing beside Wang Lin. Just then, the distant sky erupted in a wash of crimson light as dense clouds surged in, swiftly converging overhead. The clouds compressed into the form of an old man, white-haired, exuding a refined and ethereal aura. As he appeared, lightning danced beneath his feet, as if he were standing atop thunder itself. "I am the reception envoy of the Thunder Immortal Palace. Was it you who killed the other qualification holders from the eastern Luotian region?" His voice rang out as a vast, overwhelming presence swept forth. The primordial energy radiating from him marked him clearly as a cultivator in the mid-glimpse of Nirvana stage. He fixed his gaze on the white-robed youth, his voice carrying unmistakable authority. "I did." The white-robed youth answered calmly, expression unshaken. "What's your name? Which clan are you from?" the elder demanded, voice low but firm, betraying neither anger nor approval. "Su Ting of the Su family from Donglin Star. This generation's worldly cultivator." As Su Ting spoke, his eyes shifted toward Wang Lin, a sinister smile curling at the corner of his lips. The moment he spoke, especially those 5 words, "Su family of Donglin Star," a shockwave of realization swept the crowd. Many cultivators' expressions changed drastically. Some even gasped audibly and instinctively stepped back, fear flashing in their eyes. Donglin Star might be dominated by the Xiang family in terms of power, but when it came to reputation, none could rival the Su family. The Su surname was synonymous with relentless slaughter. Every generation of their worldly cultivators ignited blood-soaked massacres, wiping out entire stars without mercy if provoked. The Su family's terrifying reputation had been forged through countless waves of bloodshed. No wonder he dared to offend over 100 cultivation clans at once. A worldly cultivator from the Su family of Donglin Star. If we run into him during the Immortal Ascension contest, it'll be a death sentence. Forget it. The Su family has always been ruthlessly cruel. If things look bad, I'll forfeit on the spot. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The name Su family of Donglin Star cast a chilling pall over them. Its blood-soaked legacy left no room for doubt. The reception envoy from the Thunder Immortal Palace furrowed his brow slightly and said flatly, 3 days from now, at noon, the title battle for the 108 Thunder Immortal titles of Luotian will commence. A moment later, members of the Thunder Immortal Palace will distribute your tokens and assign your lodging. After a pause, his gaze swept across the crowd, sharp and searching. Among you, who is Su Mu? The moment the words left his mouth, cultivators from the western and northern regions, all but the southern domain, focused intently. Their expressions shifted, some grave, others speculative. The name Su Mu to them was no less significant than the Su family itself. In fact, many suspected that Su Mu was a member of that very family. Wang Lin paused for a moment before calmly raising his head. I am Su Mu. In that instant, every cultivator from the western and northern Luotian regions snapped their attention to him. Only those from the southern domain showed more complex reactions. Demon Path Scion Su Mu. He's actually taking part in the title contest. Su Mu and Su Ting. I wonder if there's any connection between the two. Su Mu was hunted by the Yao family, yet not only did he survive, he made it here. Impressive. So he is Su Mu, the six-fingered cultivator muttered, eyes flashing coldly as he took a closer look at Wang Lin. Even the big-headed young disciple paused, his usual dopey grin vanishing momentarily. But it returned, now tinged with curiosity as his gaze settled on Wang Lin. Then there was the extremely handsome blue-robed youth. The moment he heard the name Su Mu, he seemed to transform, like a drawn sword, his sharpness bared as he locked onto Wang Lin with killing intent. Su Mu, the one cousin Zifeng could never forget. A flicker of murderous intent flashed in the youth's eyes. You come with me. The palace lord wishes to see you. The reception envoy of the Thunder Immortal Palace looked at Wang Lin, a rare, amiable smile appearing on his face. With a flicker, he soared into the distance. Wang Lin hesitated briefly, ignoring the stares around him. With a single step, he lifted into the air and followed. The elder didn't move fast. As he flew ahead, the clouds parted, clearing a path. Wang Lin followed at a steady pace, face expressionless. He didn't ask a single question the entire way. Noticing this, a look of appreciation flashed in the elder's eyes. The Thunder Immortal Palace is vast. Where we were just now was only the outer palace. I'm taking you now to our inner hall. Wang Lin nodded and looked ahead. As the clouds rolled past him, a sprawling array of majestic palaces came into view. There were countless structures, not clustered, but spread apart with a graceful order. From afar, they stretched beyond the horizon. Compared to these, the imperial palaces of the mortal realm were utterly insignificant. The rich celestial aura filled the air, as though the entire realm were a celestial world. Wang Lin's gaze grew intense as he noticed that the palaces in the distance were no ordinary structures. In fact, the thick celestial energy here emanated from these palaces. The Thunder Immortal Palace has a total of 1,372 grand halls, the elder said, his voice filled with pride. These halls were all brought here by the past masters of the Thunder Immortal Palace from the Thunder Immortal realm. Wang Lin nodded and complimented. The Thunder Immortal Palace truly deserves its title as the first palace in the Luotian star domain. Flattering remarks like these didn't bother him. After 1,000 years of cultivation, he had long seen through such things. The elder laughed heartily and said, Daoist Su, your future achievements will surely be remarkable. Within the Thunder Immortal Palace, there will undoubtedly be a place for you. Wang Lin smiled and exchanged casual words, but his gaze was fixed ahead. He saw that many areas of the Thunder Immortal Palace were shrouded in a faint mist, with silver lights flashing within, clearly indicating the presence of lightning-based divine abilities. Throughout the Thunder Immortal realm, almost every area was protected by restrictive arrays. Even during the journey here, Wang Lin had noticed many such arrays. If not for following the elder of the Thunder Immortal Palace, these arrays alone would have been enough to block anyone's entry. As the two continued forward, they gradually arrived at the heart of the inner halls of the Thunder Immortal Palace. Before them stood a massive plaza paved with blue stone. Thunderous lightning flashes flickered continuously across it. The plaza was vast, easily stretching 1,000 feet in size, resembling a pool of lightning. As they neared, the lightning surged, seemingly forming a giant mouth that threatened to devour them. The elder laughed heartily, slapped his storage pouch, and immediately produced a handful of crimson fruits. With a toss, these fruits fell into the gaping mouth. A low growl emanated from the lightning on the plaza, and the red fruits vanished one by one, their juice merging with the lightning, calming it, and allowing it to subside. The ascension fruit, Wang Lin remarked, recognizing the fruits. Do you find them familiar, Taoist Su? The elder chuckled. This is a seal for the Thunder Spirit's avatar, guarding the portal of the Thunder Immortal realm. Anyone wishing to enter must offer a large number of ascension fruits to the Thunder Spirit. Otherwise, that beast will not allow entry into the realm. The past master of our Thunder Immortal Palace, using tremendous divine abilities, spent countless years to separate a fragment of the Thunder Spirit. This fragment was placed here, becoming one of the guardian beasts of the Thunder Immortal Palace.